Right. Oh, it's a Monday.
Can't you tell?
Can't you tell? I can tell. Usually I like to fade, but we're not gonna fade. We're just gonna hit stop. Fucking goofy. I'm being goofy. Yeah, man. Damn. Travis Black Moses Jackson, not to be confused with another Montgomery Travis. Do you know Travis Black Jesus Johnson? Yeah, he's a comic. He hasn't done comedy in a long time, but he was a comic back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. He's a
Sounds
good dude.
awesome.
Yeah. I just realized that I was like, wait, I wonder if you know Black Jesus exists.
Yeah. You know, my cousin gave me that nickname a couple months ago, Black Moses.
Hell yeah.
He said, because you stood with many leaders calling out the government's bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Especially in this state, you know, especially where we're at right now. So he told me that, you know, your nickname's Black Moses.
That's it.
You know, you don't say much, you let your actions do the talking. As you can recall, Moses was like that in the Bible. He didn't say much, but he used that staff, though.
Yeah, man. So this last weekend, and actually weekend before that too, you were up in Hoover.
Yeah, I wasn't in Hoover for the 4th of July protest. I was up in the Hoover. I was up at Hoover the weekend before the 4th of July. It's still bumping up there, man. Of course now, the last protest that I went to, they had the mercenaries come out there. You know, the police had the mercenaries out there. And I know the day that I was out there, a total of 30 peaceful protesters were arrested for exercising their right to protest. I mean, you know, and there was some civil disobedience. We did, you know, stop traffic to bring awareness towards, you know, the police still not revealing the tape of E.J. Bradford's execution at the Galleria on Thanksgiving of 2018.
Right.
There were some arrests, and I did go live. You know, if you don't have that, if anybody doesn't have that video, I can send it to them who wants to check out the footage that I covered while I was in Hoover that weekend.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, especially I remember not this last weekend, but time is all blending together for me lately, but whenever it was, I saw one of your live videos where pretty much everybody was trying not to get arrested. Everybody was like doing whatever the cops said, and then they would just pick people off at random.
Yeah.
Put them in cuffs, like five cops to one woman.
Yeah. Let me tell you how rich the police are up in Hoover.
Oh yeah.
So, that weekend, I was noticing that some of the peaceful protesters were being arrested. They drove their own city tour bus to arrest more peaceful protesters. So the cop cars could not handle the amount of peaceful protesters, so they had to bring a stupid tour, you know, city tour guide bus to arrest more peaceful protesters and haul them off.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And this was on like a highway too, and nobody was in the road at all, stopping traffic even.
Yeah. Now, I will say this. Now, when we first started, we did march into the road. You know what I'm saying? Like I said earlier, you know, the civil disobedience.
Right.
Now, afterwards, mind you, the police, they had their 3 rounds to come out there and arrest, you know, some of the peaceful protesters.
Right.
But after they first left, we all just stayed on the grass. But they were intimidated by us to the point where they were doing circles around, like they were driving up and down the streets.
Got it.
To see if we could act up or be radical, as they like to call it.
Got it.
But the second time they came out there, and with them, the second time they came out there, they had like 10 police cars. Mind you, they only arrested 3 of the protesters.
Got it. Got it.
You know, you need all those damn police cars to arrest 3 peaceful protesters. And they were not even in the street. They was on the grass, but they did step off into the street, but they wasn't stopping traffic.
Got
if
it.
that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, I there's been plenty of times in my life that I've not been driving a car. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
walking place to place, whatever. I'd walk in the street all the time. That's not illegal.
yeah,
It's not a crime to step into the street. So
yeah. Mind you, what's funny is these reopen economy protests that I've witnessed before we all during the shutdown of the state, there was not even that amount of police on them. But we already discussed it
yeah,
because
we talked about that back in the day. Yeah,
because the so-called because the All Lives or White Lives Matter is less of a terrorist group compared to Black Lives Matter. This is according to the government, and we all know
I
that
mean, literally that's the crazy thing. I mean, we think about it like it's a hypocrisy, right? That one thing is terrorism and one's not, but it really is just illuminating what the material interests of, or like what the interests of the state are, and that is upholding white supremacy and capitalism, right?
yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
if you want to uphold white supremacy and capitalism, it doesn't even matter if you want to do it through violence. You're not a terrorist. But if you want to topple capitalism and white supremacy, you are a terrorist.
Yeah, that's why the Black Lives Matter is a terrorist. That's why the Black Lives Matter is supposedly, in the eyes of the government, a terrorist group. But
Correct.
the All Lives and White Lives and the Blue Lives, which, by the way, that's bullshit as well too, because there are no such thing as blue lives. It's
Right.
called police. It's called blue careers. That's what it's called.
Right.
And so the problem with that is the government doesn't recognize them as a terrorist, as those as terrorist organizations,
Right.
which we all know we see right through the sun.
It is so fucked up that the Blue Lives Matter organization has stolen you know has stolen the shine from fetuses born with uh lung hypoxia, that these little white babies are born with blue blood, and they're all blue in the face, right? So
Yeah,
there are blue lives. It's just not cops.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
these little strangled babies in plastic bags. They're blue. Little white
yeah.
babies getting strangled. Their lives matter.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah,
those blue lives matter.
yeah,
Sonic the Hedgehog, I think his lives matters. Blue Man Group. I think their lives matter.
yeah. And I also think the children that are locked up in cages, their lives matter too.
Oh yeah.
You know
What color are they?
they're people of color. They're black, they're
Yeah.
brown. Oh yeah, the whole 9 yards, man.
Maybe
Their life matters as well.
maybe if we put them in blue suits.
Yeah, yeah. Then I definitely did. Now, if they were in blue suits, then they,
I'd start saying blue. Yeah, I'd start
yeah,
saying blue lives matter all of a
yeah,
sudden.
yeah, yeah. If they were in blue suits, then it would not be in cages. Sad to say, but
Oh yeah, get them a job as cops. Like
yeah,
hire undocumented labor as police officers.
yeah,
Just all of a sudden.
yeah,
That would be pretty funny. Um, yeah, dude, damn. Fucking so Hoover is like one of the richest areas of Alabama too. So like
yeah,
their cops are funded out the ass. Like you said, they have a tour bus. They have tons of squad cars. That like it's a heavily policed community. It's like
helicopters too.
they literally have fucking helicopters, which is crazy for a state. In like here, I like to say we have two rich people. We have two rich people in the whole state of Alabama. We have a bunch of like almost rich people, right? But then we have two of the like, real, actual Trump level child rapist type rich people, right?
Yeah,
Everybody else is just like barely, right?
right.
And yet, even then, this little suburb in Birmingham that has like a very small population has a metric fuck ton of money to spend on police.
Yeah, and that's why the protesters up in Hoover or in Birmingham, they have a motto, and they said that shut it down. If we don't get it, we'll shut it down. Meaning, if they don't get justice, they'll shut it down.
Right.
And what they mean by that is we're going to stop spending our dollars at these establishments that funds that funds the police, and that was very successful. That was very successful after EJ was murdered by the Hoover police.
Right.
I told you the last time, and for those of you out there who don't know this, I was one of the protesters up there, and I remember EJ was killed on Thanksgiving Day in 2018. A month after he was killed, Hoover lost $2 million
Yeah.
in revenue because we shut it down. We stopped spending money in Hoover. Even some people would drive that stayed in Hoover. They would drive to like Vestavia Hills or even Birmingham to fill their car up. They like the gas stations. Even the gas stations called hell.
Yeah.
So yeah, Hoover has 3 Walmarts up there. Those Walmarts became the mall. So just imagine the pressure that it put on those suppliers, like those truck drivers.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah. And then not to mention COVID-19 hit. So there's more revenue. So yeah, Hoover's pissed right now.
Yeah.
Because they're still recovering from the loss of revenue that we caused. We shut it down.
That's right. That's right. Hell yeah. Yeah, when in doubt, just go without.
Yeah. I like that. That's awesome.
There's an old saying, tap water is 2 cents a gallon. Drink it.
That's deep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hit them where it hurts. Or as I say, not a cent for those racist establishments. Not a cent, not one dime for the high class wine. And don't spend no money. Don't spend your money in those areas.
Right.
Yeah, shut it down.
Hell yeah. We were talking off air, like about just mutuals and the people in the Montgomery area that we've had beef with for whatever reasons. And it was kind of like I don't know, we kind of got into a little bit to stuff that wasn't even current events, just like more broad topic stuff, like the basic concept being liberalism as a failing ideology, like capitalism and liberalism being tied together, and then the people that sometimes think that they are being allies or whatever to a liberatory movement, but are really just doing it because it's cool and then also just don't want to do it. Like as soon as they're challenged on their basic core beliefs, like kind of show their ass or whatever. And we're not naming names. We're not gonna like put anybody on or whatever.
No, but we know people though.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's Montgomery, Alabama. So like, of course, there's a lot. I mean, of course, reactionaries are everywhere. Like there's far right people all over the place. Like you can open up a door, throw a rock, and hopefully it'll hit a Nazi. But no, you could hit a Nazi with a rock from your house. Like just hit one. Like it's fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I don't know. But yeah, let's get into that. Like, how do you suss out without like waiting for one to show their ass? Are there like telltale ways to say, oh, this motherfucker is about to be on some half-ass shit, or like they're gonna post about boycotting Goya beans or what, like whatever dumb shit is like not gonna do anything. They're gonna be ineffective. Like, how do we protect ourselves from liberalism? Like, we can't combat it directly yet.
Yeah. That's an interesting topic that you have brought up, and I don't mind expounding on that, especially being a man of color and have dealt with a bunch of liberals who poses as allies, but when it comes to shit hitting the fan, they ain't gonna do a damn thing about it.
Right.
So one of the things that you can do, and I would like to elaborate for anybody that is watching this video right now, liberalism. Before I go on, let me just say this first. Liberalism isn't anti-racism. I say again, liberalism is not anti-racism. Liberal, when I think of the word liberal, a name comes to mind, and that's Malcolm X, and he elaborated on liberals. They are like foxes. They have a smile on their face, but at the same time, they have teeth. So, they always have smirks on their face. They always swear up and down that, oh, I'm not racist, or, I have several black friends. My stepsister, is white, and blah, 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 blah. But like you were saying, they're all fine and dandy to talk the talk, but they're not going to walk the talk. And when you call them out on their bullshit, then that's when they start copping the attitude with you, but the real side is coming out. That's that white fragility that's being exposed.
That's right.
So one way that I combat liberalism is honestly by not giving them an inch whatsoever to like overtalk me when I elaborate on racism. A lot of times liberals, they will overstep their boundaries on purpose because they want you to go off. They want you to swing at them. They want you to verbally get into altercation because misery loves company and misery loves having a kitchen. Oh, if you exactly. So if you want to combat a liberal, the best thing to do is not even give them space or time. Or what I like to do, I don't even like to argue anymore. I just give them facts. Like the other day, there was a white woman that I knew, and she claimed up and down that, oh, I am a liberal. And I said, well, no offense to you, but liberal is like, liberals are straddling the fence. And you can't be neutral. Either you is or you ain't racist.
Right.
And she was like, well, how could you say that? I said, well, don't get upset at me. Get upset at Martin Luther King Jr. and get upset at Malcolm X.
Right.
And when I presented her these facts, it was just like, she was like, well, that's not me. Okay, then if it's not you, then why are you exposing your white fragility right now?
Right. Let's pause 2 seconds. Yeah, man. we could go deep on like Facebook arguments, shutting people down, right?
Yeah.
One of the big things is that is what they want. The picking of quarrels, right? I think that's the 8th. I didn't read the whole reread the whole article, but the stuff that Malcolm was saying about liberals was heavily based on what Mao said in Combat Liberalism. To see someone harming the interests of the masses and yet not feel indignant, that's not the one I'm thinking of. Where's the pick quarrels line? I remember pick quarrels because there is that like that whatabouting that a lot of white liberals do, right?
Yeah.
When it comes, especially to race stuff, they will interject themselves and then say, oh, I thought of this other thing. Let's talk with nuance, right?
Yeah.
Well, that nuance becomes a thing where they're seeking your deference. They're demanding your silence. And then they're demanding that you like look at this middle way. And of course, it all stems from, petty bourgeois selfishness, places personal interests first, interest of the revolution second. This gives rise to ideological, political, and organizational liberalism. Again, the good chairman Mao.
Yeah. All that makes sense on what what Mao and Malcolm X have said about the liberals, putting themselves before the revolution. In this case, the revolution today is enough is enough. We're tired of not only just police brutality, but we are tired of funding the police. But and that's why there is a hashtag that says ACAB, all cops are bastards. And that is why, and then not only are we tired of the police, but we're tired of the liberals. You know, they, like I said earlier, they have a smile on their face like foxes, but they have teeth.
That's right.
So we're fed up with, especially people, black and people of color, we are fed up with the bullshit. We are fed up and we're fired up about the liberals wanting to, take our spot when it comes to speaking about systemic racism. And then it's so weird because when liberals talk about systemic racism, it's like not only just about what about ism, but they have the mindset, well, that's not me. Well, if it's not you, then why are you tripping every time a black or person of color elaborates on the many cons of liberalism? Because there's no one pro about being liberal, none whatsoever.
No, no. Well, I mean, the pros are as long as the capital hegemony exists, they get that privilege of being rich and privileged.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the pro, but it's doing nothing to help anybody else. It's not productive to a revolutionary movement.
Because
go off.
Oh, my bad.
Sorry.
You're good. And then another thing about the liberals is they just go the fuck off without even thinking logic. They swear up and down, well, that's not true, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm not that type of person. Well, prove it. But then when it's time to like either put up or shut up, they shut the hell up when shit hits the fan. You know what I'm saying? Like they swear up and down, oh, I'll protest, I'm down for the cause. The only cause they're really down for is being OGs or online gangsters.
Right.
Yeah.
And I will say, I'm sure a ton of our people, especially right now, watching this are going to be, don't feel undue guilt for that. If you've got to stay home for whatever reason, like stay the fuck home if you got to stay home.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can get the fuck out, do something. So
yeah, exactly.
This thing's not over by a long shot. So there's plenty of opportunity.
Yeah. But it's sad because a liberal will talk trash all day, but they're not going to seize that opportunity unless it's about them individually.
Right.
Yeah. Selfish.
Yeah. So the selfishness is the biggest one. Self-preservation is another one. So the reason for the riding of two fences, like both, riding the middle of the fence, is obviously self-preservation. They don't necessarily even see revolution or revolutionary actions as possible or productive sometimes. The ones that are like ideologically liberal, right? Not just like, because there's the 11 types of liberalism, that Mao goes into. Some of them are just, what do you call it? He's like it's like a merchant that he called it, a merchant that stocks two types of a product just in case, right? He's got stock on both sides. He's not going like, this is the one, he's not making a decision. He's indecisive, and then that can be like what is that called? Self-preservation type of activity. So it's people being scared, and then it's people just not being decisive.
Yeah.
And that's one of the scariest kinds of liberal, because it means that like they are beholden to reactionary media.
Yeah.
They're able to tell, the reactionary media is able to tell them these lies or whatever about, what do you call it? And I see this happen with leftists online a lot, actually. Like, not real leftists, but like leftists that have liberal leanings take in narratives about, oh, the outside agitators are going to burn down the pharmacy and not let you have your drugs, right? Or like, not, you know what I mean? Where they're like, well, I need those or I'll die. It's like, who the fuck is going to burn down a pharmacy? Right? What are you scared of in the middle of nowhere? You know what I mean? Like, they buy into literal Nazi propaganda about the outside agitator, right? And these sort of mythos or whatever, instead of just being like, eyes open, pay attention.
Yeah.
So that fear is also a birthplace of liberalism.
Yeah, it's funny that you talked about the fear, because I was reading, there was a meme that I saw a couple days ago that was describing the difference between liberals and conservatives. And on the conservative side, it pertained to what we're exercising nowadays, which is peaceful protesting. So the conservatives said, "Oh my God, peaceful protesters." Um, what something along the lines of they shouldn't be in the streets like that, rioting and looting. Like they all should be arrested.
Right.
The liberal said that is true. However, the liberal said, "Oh, I support the peaceful protesting, but my concern is it's too hot outside." And I was just like, that's deep because the liberals, they do want to step up. But like I said, when it's time to step up, they show that fear. And like you were saying, that fear can be just as deadly. You know what I'm saying? And that fear is just as deadly as white tears, to be honest with you. So it's it's pretty interesting on how the way they think. And but like I said, if you call them out on their bullshit, oh dude, bro, dude, those white tears are like thicker than Niagara Falls, bro. Real talk.
Big time crocodile tears.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. But yeah, we have to have, this is back to Mao. We should have a largeness of mind, and we should be staunch and active, looking upon the interests of the revolution as our very life and subordinating our personal interests to those of the revolution.
That's true. Staunch and active.
That's it.
Gotta be active, man. Hey, it's not a sin to get that vitamin D.
That's right.
You know, while you protest against defunded protest for defunded the cops, it's not a sin to hit that concrete. That concrete is free, man.
That's it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. Yeah, dude. So yeah, fuck a fuck a liberal.
Right.
In like, you know, in the years since Mao and the years since even Malcolm and everybody else, there have been like CIA plants in like even seemingly like what should have been subordinate, like really subversive activities like feminism, and like you know, with like the CIA funding people like Gloria Steinem and creating white feminism, right?
Yeah.
And even, you know, maybe not directly, but definitely pushing the like performative concept of gender in third wave feminism even, and you know, making life even harder for trans people in some ways. So like in stuff like when we're combating liberalism as it appears in white feminism, right? You know, I have to keep my mouth shut a lot, right? Because I am cisgendered, I am white, right? Like those are things where it's like there's certain things that I can say as an ally, and there's certain things that I can't say. I mean, I can say whatever the fuck I want. You know, but but like there's certain things that I can't speak on from direct experience as an oppressed person, right? Like white feminism definitely does not oppress me directly, right? It upholds patriarchy, which oppresses everybody. But what are some ways, and not only the ways in which that it oppresses black men, what are the ways that like white feminism and liberalism in general, as it pertains to like gender and race, like what are some ways that that's something we can do something about, you know?
Yeah, I got you. And I don't want to sound, and for those watching this video, I don't want y'all to think that I'm mansplaining. I'm just speaking from the heart as a man who stands up for women empowerment, and that includes inclusiveness, that includes reproductive justice, racial justice, so on and so forth. White feminism is white supremacy. I'm just going to go ahead and call it, just like white liberals, moderates. White feminism feeds into white supremacy, which leads to male supremacy, which is the patriarchy. White feminism excludes women of color, from the conversations that pertain to trans rights, which is equal rights, and human rights, as well as when you elaborate on reproductive justice. White feminism says, I am not racist. I have Black women who are my friends. I am an ally. But like the liberal, when it comes time to put up or shut up, they shut the hell up.
Right.
Or if they speak with such ignorance that you can just tell that, okay, this person is trying to cover up their racism. White feminism says that I am down for reproductive justice, but they fail to but they fail to remember that had it not been for Black women or women of color, there will be no reproductive justice.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm. So the ways to combat that is just like ways that I elaborated on combating liberalism. And basically, you have to you have to identify the problem in order for it to be a solution. And the greatest solution to any problem is organization. And one way that you can, one way that we can solve the white feminism problem is by calling it out like it is, calling a spade a spade.
That's right.
You know, if your feminism is not intersectional, then it is white supremacy. No ands or buts about it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And when we say that a feminism should be intersectional, that means it literally has to be anti-capitalist at its base.
Exactly.
If it is not, I mean, class is part of intersection, right? When we talk about our, anything, when we say the word intersectional, if it's not anti-capitalist, it's not intersectional.
Yeah, exactly.
So, hell yeah, that was fun as hell, man.
Yeah.
my man just washing hands. Oh man.
Yeah, gotta apply that hand sanitizer. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Yeah.
I've been applying it. I've been applying it to my tongue.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, just drink. Well, not hand sanitizer. It's been technically it's Everclear.
Oh, Everclear. Hey,
I put it in a bottle.
Oh yeah, hey, quarreling.
That's right. I just turn up.
Right.
Twist it in. It's like hand sanitizer flavored Banaka.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! I gotta put some mint. I've got mint oil somewhere. I need to put that in some. See how that is.
Just like one of my friends told me about a couple days ago. This is like Charles Darwin. This is survival of the fittest, man. With all this shit going on right now in our country, from the racial inequalities all the way to COVID-19, all the way to the liberals, moderates, and white feminists coming out the witness protection program. Hey, we got to do whatever it takes to survive, man. I mean, we do.
That's right. Yeah, man. So I'm gonna put some bail fund stuff at least as the thumbnail in the video. I know I got a good little image of that. I'm gonna probably find some text links to some of the stuff going on in Hoover. You definitely sent me a link to a news article about citizen voice suppression of the city council. The city council president in Hoover, I believe, was silencing people in the Zoom call, very similar to what we've seen around the country in similar instances where people called out, whether it be police brutality or just unanswered calls about defunding and abolition of the police, Yeah. So in this case, I believe, Hoover, that call was mostly really moderate people calling in. They were asking, not one person said the word abolition. They all just said, all we're looking for is defund right now, which should be a 100% across the board position. Defund is easy,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like I said a couple podcasts ago, hit them where it hurts. I'm telling you, hit them in their pockets, dude. I bet you the police brutality would decrease in a heartbeat. You know what I'm saying?
It would be weird. So that's one of those weird things where it's like, does defund? So depending on what our defunding, like the defund, result in less, or defund result in more? So like, let's say rich people, like the richest people, like Hoover, right? We succeed and 100% the police department's defunded. The 7 richest families in that neighborhood or in Hoover could just buy a little military. You know what I mean? They could just be fucking evil. So when we say defund, we have to build in its place, right? Almost every religion has some sort of parable about this, where when you take something away, you have to fill it, right? When you take an evil out, when you cut a tumor out, you have to put something in. When when you take a demon possession out, you got to throw it into some pigs, right? Whatever, right? And in this case, when we take a pig possession out, we have to replace it with community action, right? We have to do direct action. So become ungovernable is the main point. I guess we're both kind of making that same point. Become ungovernable, for sure. Just be your own cop. Cop yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, it's true. And that's one thing that comes to mind when I think about community policing is ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Fuck the government. We are our own politicians. You know, like every day we exercise that right to be to politic ourselves. And one way to do that is show some action. You know what I'm saying? Like defund the cops, abolish the police, decriminalize, demilitarize the police departments. You know what I'm saying? And I really think that we're on a right path of that right now, because as you see with all these protests, there has been some awesome positive changes in our economy.
Oh, big time, big time. Yeah, absolutely. The people right now in America have more political economy, I believe, than probably at any time in the last almost 100 years. Like since the end of the progressive era, I don't think there's been a time when American individual citizens have as much political economy as they do right now. Not electorally, of course. Our votes still don't matter, right? Yeah. Neither one of us would ever argue that voting matters, but just your voice matters. Talk to your politicians. Tell them what's up, and let's primary some of these people too. If you got Democrats in your area that are not stepping up, shit. If you got Republicans that aren't stepping up, when you call your Republican lawmakers and you tell them, I want to defund police, I want to abolish the police, and they say, well, fuck you, commie, right?
Yeah.
Primary them. Go to the Republican Party in your area and try to be the first Republican socialist in your district.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We got to try everything.
Yeah, we do. Especially with all the shit that's going on right now. And then let me say this.
Go on.
Just because you have a D next to your name, a Democrat, does not mean a damn thing. D can mean anything. D can mean divisive. It can be demonic. It can mean a sex organ. It can just mean it can mean anything. And the problem in another issue in our economy is you have a lot of these Democrats who just wear a title, but they don't want to put it in the work. It goes back to liberals. It goes back to the white liberals, the feminists, and the moderates.
Right.
Good game all day on a computer or on a sheet of paper. They all even go to the point of handing people out their business cards. But when you call and when you hold them accountable, they don't like it.
No.
Well, the reason why they don't like it is because the truth hurts.
That's right.
They were about their damn business, then we would not have to hold them accountable. But I just wanted to bring that up because I know some viewers will be like, well, the guy that I'm voting for, he's a Democrat. So what? Prove it.
Yeah.
Tell me that you're for human or civil rights. Prove it. And we need to stop putting our trust in these Democrats alone and start putting our trust in Democrats with human and civil rights agendas.
Right. Or just anybody willing to do the work. If a Republican, or if there was an elected official with an R next to their name that came out and said, I am for the abolition of prisons tomorrow. I am for the abolition of the white supremacist hegemonic capitalistic state. And I will work tirelessly to do it. Right.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck that they're a Republican. Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. We talked about Mr. Haig. I only remember his last name, but Haig. That motherfucker was a cop killer, and he was a Republican.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't care. Like, I don't care what party somebody's in. If they're out here doing the work,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's
My
right.
favorite politicians are the ones who, even like despite of the weather, they're out in their communities, serving their communities. Like, for example, Mayor Reed, for example, he's mayor. Look at how much community service he still does.
Yeah.
He takes off his little fancy suit, rolls up his sleeves, goes in the community, feeds the homeless, takes pictures with people, that are in dire need of assistance, and he asks questions. And his city government is awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing strange about his leadership.
It took me a second to get that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's what we need. We need politicians like that who could just roll up their sleeves and serve the community despite of the weather.
That's right. And one of the really interesting things about Montgomery, a lot of people don't know this about Montgomery, is our mayor is not party affiliated. We have no party affiliation for our mayoral race. They're not backed by a party.
Yeah.
Which that's pretty tight. I think they should do that in every mayor race in every city. That would be fucking dope, because then it's about the individual and their policies. One thing that kind of sucks about it with Mr. Reed is he does have to be a lot more moderate than I think he wants to be.
Yeah.
There was a live. It wasn't on this podcast. It was on like a Facebook Live thing I did a long time ago at the beginning of the COVID, when I kind of just talked about the way he had to sidestep the language to be moderate, but also let people know that he wasn't going to fuck around and let folks kill each other,
Yeah.
It was like, if the state says we're shutting down, and like if they say when they say we're reopening, we're still going to talk to the medical community and say we might not,
Yeah, that's the thing I like about Reed. And if you read his history, he is a history maker as well too. He was the first Black probate judge in the state of Alabama, and now he's the first Black mayor for the city of Montgomery. Right. I voted for him because, of course, as always, I do my research on politicians, and plus, I was just thrilled with his stance for marriage equality in 2015. That's what really got me like more attracted to his activism.
Right.
Like I said, you don't see too many leaders out there who are in these government positions who are going to roll their sleeves up and go serve the community. Like I said, all talk and all talk in their bullshit walks. However, Reed is a different leader. He's all about action and not just words. And I love that about Reed.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, man. Like, so I'm gonna throw at least that one article about Hoover in the show notes. We're gonna have some links for some bail funds, because people in Alabama are getting arrested, still protesting, still trying to demonstrate to defund and abolish police all over our state, not just in Hoover, not just in Birmingham, but in Montgomery and Huntsville and Mobile as well. It could be other places too. I haven't seen any rural. That show would be wild if somebody in rural Alabama is out there talking about abolish police, walking down the three, one pizza place in a fucking gas station little town, and the 3 cops show up to arrest him. Shouts out to that guy if that's happening. Hell yeah. So, Travis, it was nice to have you again. This is the Great Satan episode. I don't know. It's been a hot minute. I'm gonna go back with the theme song. We're gonna Great Satan, JJ Demon. Thanks for the theme song.